Day. This is war cry, police brutality. Hands up, don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is war cry. Drugs, rape, mass shooting, school violence. This is war cry, galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in school. This is war cry, cameras, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is war cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is war cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is war cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is war cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is war cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is war cry. HBCUs under attack. This is war cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is war cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is war cry. Oh, let us come together and pray for our young people. Pray for our communities. Pray for our schools. Pray for our churches. Pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is war cry. Home of the land. Home of the brave. Land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is war cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is war cry.
I know who goes before me. I know who stays behind. The God of Israel's army is always by my side.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
This is war cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is war cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence. Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is war cry. Police brutality. Hands up! Don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is war cry. Drugs, rape, mass shooting, school violence. This is War Cry, galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in school. This is War Cry, cameras, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is War Cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is War Cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is War Cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is War Cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is War Cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is War Cry. HBCUs under attack. This is War Cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is War Cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is War Cry. Oh, let us come together and pray for our young people, pray for our communities, pray for our schools, pray for our churches, pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is War Cry, home of the land, home of the brave, land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is War Cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is War Cry.
I know who goes before me. I know who stays behind. The God of Israel's army is always by my side.
Welcome to War Cry. Welcome to War Cry. This is another great program crying out for the needs of those that are oppressed, abused, and marginalized. Sounds a lot like us, right? This is War Cry. This is the month of June, and as you know, there's many exciting things happened in the month of June. First of all, we have Father's Day, and I want to just put it this way, Black Father's Day. Until the father, the black man, has been restored to his proper place as the head of the family, we're going to always have problems with our young people and with other society, other groups thinking that we don't know where we belong. But this is Black Father's Day, and it kicks off Juneteenth. The June 18th and Father's Day are on the same day. So we definitely want to get together and say something about that. And this is June. The month of June is gun violence month. We are against gun violence. We're asking churches to take one Sunday and begin to talk to your church about gun violence and come up with different ideas on what we can do. We've got to discuss it. The color is orange. So if you want to participate and be a part of the 67 God Squad program, you could definitely hit me up at warcry.children@gmail.com and I'll put you in contact with the right people because it's time for us to take charge of our destiny. As you know, this is War Cry for our children, War Cry for our communities, our schools, our churches. Oh, it's a war cry for our neighborhoods. War cry for your neighbors that live next door. War cry for all the foster homes. It's a war cry to galvanize us back together again. We've been too silent. It's time for us to open up our mouths. It's time for us to make some acknowledgement. We could not even celebrate Father's Day when they separated our men from us. It's only been over the recent years that we were even a part of the conversation. But this is War Cry. You can hit me up on my website, War Cry for Our Children. You can send me the names of the children you want me to pray for. As you've seen on the screen, I have hundreds of names that I wake up and I pray for. This is War Cry for Our Children. I lament for them. I cry out for them because I know and I believe that God changes the destiny of our children when somebody is praying for them. Somebody prayed for me. So why don't you let me pray for them? You can send that information to warcry.children@gmail.com. You can also get a t-shirt that says, I am praying for our children. It's white with red letters. You can hit me up on my Gmail then. Again, War Cry for Our Children, warcry.children, Gmail, and wear a t-shirt. Let the enemy know that we are praying for our children. As you can see, I have hundreds of names that people have sent an email. Let me be a part of their lives through the power of prayer. I'm calling out all their names, Jamaras and Isaiahs and Jordans and Jaylas and Lisas. I'm calling out all their names because somebody's got to be on the wall and somebody's got to be praying. So War Cry is praying. We've got active prayer warriors standing in the gap for our children. And guess what? I believe that if we pray, we can close the hospitals down. If the church gets in the right place to pray, the sick will be healed. If the church gets in the right place, well, I don't want to go that way and preach, but this is War Cry. We're not politically correct, but we're Christ correct. And we got another great show for you today. Engineers, bring our guest on. One of the guests, Dr. Eric Gardner, cannot be on today because of the fact he had a sudden emergency in his family. So our prayers are with him. Our prayers are with him. So we have another dynamic show. So let's go. Anthony, are you there, Anthony?
Hello. Hi there, Valerie Montgomery.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see
Hi.
you.
I am so glad that you decided to join us this morning because see, we need to talk about programs like you got. And see, it's too many times that we push things under the rug. We just push it under the rug. We don't want to talk about it because we feel it don't affect us. But if it affects one person, it affects all of us. Now I see you have on a t-shirt. What does that t-shirt say?
This is our Stop False Police Reporting logo t-shirt for our organization. I don't know if you can see it in the shot there. Set up there.
Oh yeah, we see Stop False Police Reporting. Now, introduce yourself and your organization, and then we'll get into the conversation. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you for inviting me here to be part of this conversation today. My name is Anthony Dolce. I'm the executive director and founder of the Stop False Police Reporting Group and Initiative, and we are a non-for-profit organization that helps people who have been directly impacted by wrongful arrest and wrongful conviction. And we are also working with other legislators and organizations around legislation that contains police and civilian accountability. Currently, I'm working with Senator Kevin Parker and Assemblymember Gibbs on our Universal Stop False Police Reporting Act, which was introduced this past January into the legislative session. And this initiative will make it a felony for both civilians and police officers who file false reports in the state of New York. And it also calls for a public database to track and record who's doing this type of crime.
Excellent, excellent. Now, has there been any law like this put in place before you started this in New York State?
There was a very popular, well-known case that was Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper, who Amy Cooper called the police on Christian Cooper in Central Park. And from this case, the 911 false police reporting bill was created. But this legislation by Senator Kevin Parker's office only addresses civilians. So in 2020, when my wrongful arrest was dismissed, I wanted to create an initiative that would include both civilians and police officers who make false reports against any protected class of person in the state of New York. So it was natural for me to gravitate to Senator Parker about the idea I had for this bill to protect people from this type of crime.
Now, let me just go back. You just told the audience that you yourself have been faced with false police reporting in 2020. Could you just elaborate a little bit on that? And how did you feel? I mean, I gather that when people falsely report something on innocent individuals, I guess they're torn between trying to say, I didn't do it and leave me alone. And in some cases, like the Central Five, um, they may even, based upon the pressure, they may even say, I did it. So tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, well, my husband and I, we're a gay married couple. We've been together for 23 years, and we relocated back to New York City in 2016 to this luxury condo high-rise building called Dorchester Towers. And we were living there for several years without a single complaint until this new property manager started working there, who was very biased towards my husband and I's sexual orientation. And so that's where it started. And this building had hired retired NYPD officers to stand guard inside of our building and in our hallway. And they instructed them to call the police on us if we don't vacate the premises within 2 minutes. And we documented this happening in our building. And when they would call 911, they made false police reports against my husband and I. And false reporting is a way landlords, when they want to get a tenant out of an apartment, they weaponize the police and the 911 call center against tenants they want to harass and get out of the apartment. So ours was a housing discrimination case, landlord-tenant harassment. And I was wrongfully placed in handcuffs on 10 occasions during 2018 and 2019. Because the employees of this building kept making false police reports. And it is still 4 years later, and the residue is the best way to say it, is still on my back and on my husband's back. The residue of pain and the humiliation. And even though the case got dismissed, our family still hasn't received justice for the things that we experienced in this building.
You know what, Anthony? It's amazing to me that they would come out in 2018, 2019, and even 2020 and make all these arrests to you, when in fact, in our neighborhoods, when we call 311 or 911, they asked us, is this a non-violent case? And if it doesn't demand response right then guess what? It takes hours and hours sometimes for New York City Finance actually come out. But here in your case, they came out many, many times. Now, the only way that we actually get someone to respond like that is that somebody has to say there is a weapon involved. And then it seems like everybody come out. But in your case, you had no weapons, you had nothing, and they responded and even put you in handcuffs.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
And now, is this the first time that you've ever had handcuffs on you?
Yes, that is the first time that I've ever been wrongfully placed in handcuffs. It's 20.
And how does that feel? That's not a good feeling, because you can't do anything once you're handcuffed. You feel powerless.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
And
I knew to stay calm though, because I know that if you even wiggle or struggle a little bit, you can get harmed, by the police, in the process of being arrested. So I froze in all these cases. I just kind of like stay still to try to stay calm, even though I knew what was happening was wrong and unjust and was, not correct what they were reporting to the police.
Absolutely. And then you also brought up a case about what happened in Central Park, where we had this black guy. I think he was out there looking at birds, and this other white lady was walking her dog, and somehow something. You know anything about that case as well?
I do. Christian Cooper, who's an African American man, was bird watching in Central Park, and Amy Cooper came along, and she was walking her dog without a leash. And I believe Christian Cooper asked her to put the dog on a leash, which is the law. And Amy Cooper didn't like that this gentleman was telling her what to do. And she decided to call 911 and make up this story that there was a black man in the park that was threatening her life and harassing her. And fortunately for Christian Cooper, he was able to record the whole thing. And he was standing there perfectly still, calm, and he wasn't doing anything wrong or harassing her or threatening her in any kind of way. This video is what inspired the 911 false police reporting bill in 2021 by Senator Parker. So this is the first time that we have had legislation in New York City that kind of really touches at the heart of false reports.
Wow. Now, and I gather the bill is moving forward. So do you have a lot of speed behind the bill? Because I'm sure that we have a lot of false police reporting in New York City. And especially sometimes, and I'm not an expert on this, so I'm going to give a disclaimer out there, but especially sometimes when we actually look at domestic violence with one person calling up on another person just so the police could come out there. So I'm sure we have a lot of data on it. Have you been able to get a lot of data, a lot of statistics to even more prove your case even the more, besides your 18 times, 20 times? Now, let me go back. Now, when they took you to jail, how long did you stay in there? I hope, Anthony, you got out soon.
Well, seven times that I was put in handcuffs, they tried taking me to Bellevue Hospital and committing me to a mental ward where I didn't belong. But on the first time they did that, I was actually committed for 9 days in a mental ward where I didn't belong, because 20th Precinct had falsified a police report saying that my husband made the report against me that I was acting mentally unstable and a danger to myself. But my husband was not even home that day that the police had put in the report that they made the call. So unfortunately, I was taken to the hospital in handcuffs, and I spent 9 days, and my husband did get me out by saying that there's nothing wrong with me. And later, after I moved out of Dorchester Towers, I got arrested 2 more times. Once while I was actually protesting in front of the building, and that time I spent 2 days in jail and was released. And another time was just a desk appearance to appear in court. But that case went on for a year and 2 months, and I turned down 4 plea bargains at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, because one of the allegations that the property manager was saying is that I went into her office and I threatened to kill her. But she did not report this crime until 6 months later, after I moved out of the building. So I would not take a plea for a crime I didn't commit, and I'd rather take my chances going to trial. And when push came to shove, the judge gave the other side another 2 more months, and then the case was dismissed due to a 30-30 motion. So now we're taking some legal action against the building.
Now, and that's obviously a shame. Now, you say, now, did they force you to move out of the building, or you just say, look, I had enough of this, I'm just going to move out and fight them from the outside?
That's a good question. The unit owner that we were renting the apartment from, actually, she renewed our lease for another 2 years because she didn't have a problem with my husband and I, and we were paying our rent and we were good tenants. So the building, the property management company for Dorchester Tower, they threatened to sue the homeowner if she does not kick us out of the apartment. So they put the pressure on top of her head. And after she renewed our lease, she came back. She says, listen, I don't want to get sued. I don't want to lose my home. Can you move out? But we had nowhere to go. And where were we going to go? And who was going to pay for this move? So she put her home up for sale. And then she went to housing court to start the eviction process. And that's how they eventually got us out of the building, through housing.
And I do hope you have a safe place now to live, free from harassment. I do hope that as well. Now, let's go back to statistics. Have you gathered a lot of information on false police reporting in New York State during the time that you are going back and forth to Albany? What have you gathered? Is there a lot of that?
Well, that question is actually very strongly related to what's in our initiative and in the bill, because in 2020, when my case was dismissed, I did some research and I was very surprised to find that there's not a category at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for the crime of false reporting. So provision number 6 in our Stop False Police Reporting initiative is the creation of a public database, because we have to acknowledge the civilians and police officers who are using lies to destroy people's lives, because currently we don't know what the statistics are. I do know from their website that there's over 50,000 cases dismissed every year where someone is arrested and later, for some reason, the case gets dismissed down the road. But we don't know how many of those are from false police reports. Now, according to the National Registry of Exoneration, there has been 75 exonerations nationwide since 1989. So it's close to around 3,000 wrongful conviction over the past 35 years. And that is a very high number. And because we have 2.2 million people currently incarcerated in the United States, we know that there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent people who are in the prison system, who are innocent and who do not belong there. So that's why this public database is so important to put in place, because we need more transparency. We need to identify who these people are. I want the names and faces known to the public to serve as a very strong deterrent to put an end to false reporting.
Now, we spoke about, or you brought up, wrong convictions. Mm-hmm. So wrong conviction and false police reporting are the same. Can we merge them together as the same, or do we keep them separate? Because somewhat we don't know all of the wrong convictions that has happened in these United States of America. But as you said, we do know the amount of people who have got exonerated from out of jail for not doing what they said, which that means that somebody did do a false police reporting. So are we going to merge both of these together, or will false police reporting be like somebody said something to you about a person, police comes out and finds that not true? Are we going to go down to that level? They find the evidence not there and they say, listen, I'm not going to take them to jail? Or is it going to be when they actually go in and release? What is going to be the preliminaries that we're going to deal with that?
Yeah, that's another great question. And, false reporting is a very complicated crime, because not every false report leads to a wrongful conviction. So like in my case, I was wrongfully placed in handcuffs 10 times, but I never got convicted. I was one of the lucky ones that did not get convicted for a crime they didn't commit.
Let me step in. But did they take your mugshot? Did they fingerprint you?
Yes, they did. And that's still on my record. That's still there. My fingerprint, my pictures, my mugshot. And that's another example of the residue of false reporting that stays on you. And it's on your record, because my case was not dismissed on merit. The DA's office let the clock run out. So until it's proven in a court of law that it was actually a false report. That's through a civil action, but the DA could step in to investigate the case to determine whether it was a crime or not, and that's another way you could be exonerated. If the district attorney's office looked into each and every one of these reports, because I believe that it should be a felony charge regardless of whether someone is convicted or not. No one should be using the 911 calls to try to frame an innocent person that they have bias towards. People who are homophobic, racist, we need to deal with harder penalties because it's a bias crime and that's who's being targeted. Black men and Black women in the United States are at a 6 times higher rate of wrongful conviction than any other race. So
yes, and see with us, and let me just step in, with us is supposing, just like the guy in the park, or even with yourself, the trauma that comes along with that, of knowing that someone is calling the police, saying something about you, not knowing what kind of mentality or attitude this police has about you, and then they come out, which brings about a whole different dynamic of things. And let me tell you, I want to just say that New York City Police Department is the finest in the world. Go, go, go. But then there's some of them that do have some biases, and we've got to acknowledge that. And when the police come, it's like a traumatizing situation. At least for Black people, I can't speak for you, but maybe for you too. I mean, because number one, we're working with the dilemma of we're wrong, they're right, and no matter what we say, we're still going to be wrong. And especially when we're going up against a white person like a Karen who said we parked our car too close to them and we're not letting them get in, or like your case, you couldn't even talk. Okay, let me call 911. He's talking. It has to stop. Now, what are the different levels? Do you got felony? What are the different levels that you're asking for, Anthony?
Well, the current legislation is only a misdemeanor crime, and it doesn't even it does not include law enforcement. So the Universal Stop False Police Reporting Act is including both civilians and police officers who make false reports. And why I want to make it a felony, it's a felony E class, is because I want it to be a permanent record on them. I want it to follow them if they decide to go to another county or another state, to have that on their record. And also the penalty needs to better match the consequences. You know, some of the victims of who have been wrongfully convicted, they come out and they tell me sometimes, you know, I want the guy who put me in prison to spend as much time as I spent in prison. And some are spending 10, 20, as much as 30 years in prison for a crime they didn't commit. And so the current legislation needs to be a higher penalty.
Absolutely. I mean, I read a case where this guy spent 32 years in jail. How can you give a person back even 32 minutes that you spent in jail? More or less than 32 years in jail, 32 Christmases, 32 birthdays, 32 years away from his mother. His mother died. 32 years, 30 seconds even for you to be in the back seat of a police car and to ride there, not knowing how your destiny is going to turn out, knowing that you're right, but you don't know how people gonna look at you. You don't know what they're gonna write on that paper. You don't know what the pressure that's gonna be at you. Think about the Central Park fire. Think about that and how those young men that was kept in those those hearing rooms that they have where they question you and question you and question you and question you 16 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours. And then finally something you just say, just let me say I did it. And that something I say I did it ends up with a lifetime of almost incarceration, only to find out that the person you was the wrongly convicted person. Speak to that pain. Speak to that pain, Anthony. That's horrible.
The Central Park Five, which is now the Exonerated Five, that is a extraordinary example of injustice, of false reporting and wrongful conviction and forced confessions. And it is unbelievable that in the state of New York.
Now hold it. Let me just come in, Anthony, and you can go back. Now, would you say when they ask you to plead bargain that that's a forced confession? Back at you, Anthony.
Yes, that was a way that they were trying to talk me into admit to something that I didn't do. Now, I was not in an interrogation room with police officers like the Central Park Five, but the prosecutor in my case kept offering plea bargains to our attorney, and the public defender kept saying, "Oh, you're not going to get a better deal than this. You should just take this case." And they seemed to be more interested in settling the case than seeking the truth, finding the truth on both sides. Maybe this person is innocent who's saying he hasn't committed any crimes. And the prosecutor needs to look at both sides of the case to take that into regard. And Central Park Five, they were children. They had no parents. They had no lawyers. They did not know their rights. And children's minds are not fully developed of the consequences of the future. They're thinking like, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I don't want to be here anymore. Okay, all right, I'll sign this just to get out of this awful situation, not thinking of the long-term consequences. And it's astonishing in the state of New York that police officers can still play good cop, bad cop with innocent defendants and lie to them, saying, "Oh, your friend said you did it. We have evidence that said you did it." They can also lie to an innocent person that they failed their lie detector test. So
I thought that was against the law to do that.
No, it is not. It is still legal to do that. So we have police officers who are supposed to be representing truth, justice, fair due process, and then they come into an interrogation room and they lie to somebody who they're trying to persuade into admitting to crimes that they did not commit.
Wow. And imagine for a young person how that feels. That's why one of the banners or war cry is to fight against social injustices. A lot of times we as a church, we preach about Jesus, but we don't preach about his totality of him staying outside of the walls of Jerusalem and the people that was marginalized, with the ones they put out of the walls, not the ones they put inside, the ones that was outside because they were not deemed good enough to be in the synagogues. Jesus spent his time with the woman at the well that had the 5 husbands, the woman that committed adultery, the man with leprosy, the woman that was demon possessed. See, that we gotta look at who did he spend his time with? Those that was marginalized, those were rejected, those that was abused, but because he came to show us that they needed to have a voice. And I'm glad you decided to start this legislation about false police reporting. Now, how far is it, and how close is it to being passed the bill? And are you getting any resentment or any pushback?
I started this group and the Stop False Police Reporting Initiative 2.5 years ago. October will be 3 years that I've been working on this initiative. And it's taken me nearly 1.5 years to get it finally introduced into the legislative session. So it got introduced in January, and the sponsors are Senator Kevin Parker and Assembly Member Edward Gibbs on the Assembly and Senate side. And since January, we have approximately 4 co-sponsors on the Senate and 14 co-sponsors on the Assembly, which is pretty good for just a few months being introduced since January. I wanted to double check, make sure I got my numbers right.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
had 3 new ones just sign up recently. So it's doing well. There's only been one legislator who gave some pushback, but for the most part, the feedback has been very positive, very, very well, and we're hoping to get it passed into law either this session or hopefully by next session.
This is War Cry, and we're glad that you decided to join us today. We have the sponsor of the bill, Stop False Police Reporting, and he's going to tell you how you can send money to help him out. He's going to tell you how you can buy a t-shirt, because as you know, listeners, this impacts all of us. Anybody could pick up a phone and guess what? Report a lie. And we want to stop that. Now, we may not can stop them from reporting it, but guess what? There should be a penalty to what they say and what they do. And this is a biased crime. This is a prejudice crime. You know, where all the cameras running around here, all the people who are wanting to bash other people, we've got to put bills in place. And let me tell you something, I hope this bill just balloons and goes everywhere, period, because we need to stop false police reporting. And sometimes people threaten you. They'll say, no, I'll call the police, because they want you to back up. And then I'll make up stuff and tell 911. The 911 operators don't know. The police don't know. They're only going by the message that they're receiving. So this is not their fault, but it is the fault of those that are making those accusations against us as a people. We shouldn't weaponize that. 911, police department has a lot of things to do besides answer false police reports. I'm going to tell you, our hands are full. This is going to be a hot summer. We got a lot of people coming into the city. A lot of buses are coming in. 3,500 people came into the city last week from across the borders. They're looking for places for them to stay. We got a lot of immigrants that came in from Ukraine here. School is going to be out. Jobs are going to be few, and it's going to be a hot summer. And let me tell you something. I want you guys to check this out. New York City has got what they call a RoboCop that they're going to be putting out. Check it out. Google RoboCop New York City Police Department. Now, we're down by police. Now we're going to have a RoboCop? I don't think so. I really don't see what they're going to do, because they're going to be taking pictures after the crime. And guess what? Do not put them, don't try to put, people gonna kick them. This is New York. Back at you, Anthony.
Well, wow, yes, I know, RoboCop. I'm curious to see how that's gonna work, and if the money.
Yeah, Google it. They call one of them, looks like, I don't know, have you ever seen these robots in the stores that sweep the floors? It's called a snitch box, is one of them. And the other one's called RoboCop. Yeah, they're going to be putting them out. Here it is now. Let's listen to it. Come on, engineer. The engineer, could you put it back on the screen about the RoboCop and the snitch box? Because I want Anthony to hear, and I want our audience to hear too, because this is War Cry. We're not politically correct. That's it. Let's go. We can't hear the sound, engineer.
Sniffing out danger. Then there's the GPS dart, tracking cars driven by people up to no good. First, there is Digidog, sniffing out danger. Then there's the GPS dart, tracking cars driven by people up to no good. And you might run into this roundish robot, keeping an eye on places like Times Square.
We want the public to know that the use of these technologies will be transparent, consistent, and always done in collaboration with the people that we serve.
The NYPD showcasing 3 new tools that will be rolled out in the coming months. Pilot programs, the department says, linking cops with new technology, especially during extreme situations.
In hostage negotiations, counterterrorism incidents, and other situations as needed.
Digidog was originally launched during the de Blasio administration, but the program was suspended. Civil rights activists said it was an example of over-aggressive policing. Today, Mayor Adams barked back at those complaints.
DigiDog is out of the pound. DigiDog is now part of the toolkit that we are using.
Similar robots have been used in places like airports and college campuses, cameras and two-way communications, connecting police with people who need help. The GPS DART, already in use, launched in some cases at so-called ghost cars, illegal rides using phony paper license plates.
And while we're doing this, it allows our officers to stay safe, limit pursuits, and let the GPS do its job.
So who pays for all this stuff? Well, police say $750,000 for 2 dogs comes from forfeiture money, additional funds from the capital budget. The mayor took a bite at reporters asking specific money questions.
This is an investment in our public safety.
The new recruits start popping up this summer. In Times Square, Gus Rosendale, News 4 New York.
Wow. Now you heard it first on War Cry. What do you think about that, Anthony?
Well, it sounds expensive. Really? $1,000 for, was that, did I hear it correctly, two of those robots?
2 DigiDogs. Yeah, 2 DigiDogs.
That's a lot of money for that technology. And there was another point that I heard about, we're going to be fully transparent. I'd like to know what that looks like. I would like to know that in writing on a public database, this information that they're going to be acquiring. And is this going to be in any way a violation of our constitutional rights in some ways? How they're collecting this information, how are they doing it? Are we going to have full transparency like they claim?
Yeah, that's left up to the people whose grades are higher than mine. But what the mayor is trying to do is he's trying to get some more resources, some more tools to actually work and help enhance or defer crime. But remember, they're non-evasive. So all they're doing is taking information down. And come on now, it's a lot of places in New York City that the DigiDog or the snitch box won't be able to be used, i.e. on the subway platforms, because we understand the different crowds and the different types of people that actually come into our city, period. So, but I guess one of the things he wants to do is enhance our crime. But I'm interested, I want to see if this is going to help us, then I want to see what's going to happen, period. Now, tell us, Anthony, how we can actually help you, how we can get a T-shirt. What can we do to help the false police reporting, which is extremely important because we know what false police reporting does. It ends up in a wrong conviction. Period. And we have people that have went to jail, or people who say they're innocent, or people who come out of jail that admit that they did something, say, I never did it. And their records are completely messed up. So tell us what we can do to help, how we get a T-shirt, what's your website. Tell us what your next steps are. Just give it to us.
Okay. So, right now, we don't currently have a website. We have a Facebook business page that people can follow. If you go on Facebook and you search Stop False Police Reporting, you can follow us there. You can see all the events that we're working on. You can get updates about the bill, and you can see what's coming up for our next June events on June 24th and June 25th. So I encourage you to please follow us on Facebook. And we also have a petition on change.org. If you search Universal Stop False Police Reporting Act, and the link is also on our Facebook page, but you can also find us there. And I encourage you to sign our petition and share it with your network, with your friends, with your family, because this is such an important cause that we need to put an end to false reporting by both law enforcement and civilians. And that's our goal, to work around legislation to put an end to this type of crime, and also to help those who've been impacted by false reporting and wrongful convictions as well.
Now, let me just interrupt again. When you say help those that have been impacted by false police reporting, that means that this bill would actually go back and it would provide some type of legal service or some type of assistance to those that have been actually had a false report put on them. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we have weekly support and planning meetings that people can actually call in and speak with me and other individuals who've been impacted by false reporting to share what they're experiencing, what they're still going through. And we also do have a limited number of attorneys that I'm working with about cases of wrongful arrest or wrongful conviction. So people can contact us for support and also for some legal advice, and we can help them with, making police reports, filing their FOIL request, and getting in touch with other resources that we have.
Now, we have listeners that are just not listening in New York City or in New York State, that are all over the world. So can any of them call you if this is something that they think that they would like to start in their states? Can they contact you, and maybe you can have another leg into another state? What do you think about that?
I think that's a wonderful idea, and I do see the Stop False Police Reporting Initiative as a national movement. Right now, it's here in the state of New York, and once it gets passed here in the state of New York, I would really love to see it, branch out to every other state across the United States. So anyone from another state is welcome to contact me directly. Our business number is 929-600-3400, and our email is falsepolicereporting@gmail.com. And you can also contact us directly on Facebook, Stop False Police Reporting.
Very good, because it is something that needs to be done, because it is happening all over this country. And guess what? We're just looking at it from this level, but a lot of people have died from false police reporting. Because if someone calls in a false police report on a young kid that may have a felony against him, but they're using this to trigger him, then when the police comes out, guess what that young kid is going to do? He's going to run, which is going to cause a greater impact. This is very serious. We need to pay attention to this, because false police reporting, even though we don't have everything documented and everything in a file, and we thank Anthony for the work he's doing, because we need it documented. It's just like a near miss. A near miss is an accident that didn't happen. But guess what? Until we start tracking the near misses, and that will give us the information on how to prevent the accident. So let's start tracking the false police reports, and that will give us the data we need, that we can fight against for the wrongful convictions that we've been getting among people, and especially Black people. You know how it is. Just what they had. What's that little thing? Hashtag driving while Black is a crime. Well, no, it's not driving while Black is a crime, but some people think that. And we thank God for the New York City Police Department. We think you're doing a great job. All our services and all the facilities that are here, but we really need to stop false police reporting on both sides. This is war cry. And we're here crying out for those that are oppressed. We're giving a voice to the voiceless. And that's what we're doing with Anthony. Now, Anthony asked with our discussions, what one thing, what would you like to leave the audience with? And also, what is one word that you could use? Oh, Doctor, I see. When did you join us, Dr. O? Dr. O, when did you come in? Are you late?
About 5 seconds ago.
5 seconds ago. This is Anthony. We're talking about false police reporting. Now, Dr. O, do you think that we need to actually track and have a bill for false police reporting? Now, look at the color of your skin before you answer.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now, did you ever hear about the work of Anthony gathering information? And actually, the bill is in Albany now, right, Anthony?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's correct.
Yes. Yeah. He gave us a little information even about the wrongful convictions, and which are still false police reporting. Period. Dr. O, what would you like to say, Dr. O?
Well, my apologies. I couldn't get on because I was using my phone and it said the mic wouldn't work. And so I had to wait till I got to a computer to get on. So my apologies for being late. But I'm just so happy to be on the show with you because you always bring new information and open up my mind and certainly your listening audience as well. So with that, I would like to just listen to your guest and hear what he has to say.
Yeah, Anthony, just give a summary of false police reporting and why we need it, and take us back to the incident also, not only with you, but also in Central Park and what made you do it. So Dr. O can hear it.
Well, false police reporting is very near and dear to me because I was directly impacted. So was my husband, and we were targeted by homophobia, which led to our landlord, property management, calling the police on us and making false reports as a form of harassment, as a way to get us out of this apartment that they wanted us out. So our case deals with landlord-tenant harassment, and that's a tactic that some landlords use against tenants that they have bias towards, whether it's racism or homophobia. And they want that apartment back. Maybe they want to jack up the rent, so they start making police reports about that tenant to get them out. So and this is why this cause is so important to me. And you also, Valerie, touched on something earlier about false reporting leading to death, and that is very true. And when you look at Breonna Taylor, they went before a judge in the daytime, right, in a courtroom before a judge to get permission to serve a no-knock warrant that was falsified. They put false information in this no-knock warrant to these police officers, who then went to the wrong address, and then someone, Breonna Taylor, got shot to death in the process. But that started with a report, false information. And that's why this bill needs to be, this legislation needs to be a felony. So the consequences are better matched, and also including police officers who do lie in police reports to obtain a conviction against an innocent person.
Okay, Dr. O.
I got it. Central Park 5. That case was just so just horrific. But we know it happens again and again. And how many times it happened, we don't even have a chance to bring it to light, where people never know what really happened. How many people were
Dr. O, let me come in. Then Anthony said that they don't even track it. He can't even get the data on how many false police reports have came through. It's no data, so he's having to put this stuff together. Wrongful convictions, he says he has that based upon how many people was let out, but he still don't know how many people were wrongly convicted in jail. Back at you, Dr. O. I want to put that in.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the white woman, and I think she was in Central Park as well, where she was saying that she's being afraid and being attacked by a black man. The black man wasn't even touching her, and I know that she did get arrested. I don't know what the actual sentencings were, but of course, this is harmful. It's using the law in such a way that it weaponizes, the process, which is truly discrimination.
Yes, and let me bring another case up that we didn't think about. Remember in Georgia, where this black man, what was his name, Aubrey? He was jogging, and this group of white men in a truck actually called up and reported that he was breaking in houses. Remember that? and it was a stand your ground state. And they actually went and shot and killed him. That was a false police report.
Wow.
Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, that's another good example. And we were also talking about Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper in the Central Park earlier in the program. But I did want to say that originally the former district attorney, Cy Vance's office, they were not going to charge her. They were not going to charge her for making a false police report, even though she had committed a crime in a video. There was no disputing that she was weaponizing the 911 call against someone who's Black for the color of their skin. It was clearly a racist situation that happened, and it is astonishing at that time that originally they were not going to do anything about it. Then a lot of politicians had to come out. I believe Jumaane Williams and other politicians with other activists had to all come out and protest just to get one person arrested who committed a crime in a video. And that's another problem with our system, that we have no problem incarcerating an innocent person, but we have to get a whole 1,000 people to protest to get the perpetrator arrested. So that is just wrong. That is completely wrong.
Yes.
So many levels.
Yes. Hey.
Scales of justice.
Yes, it is.
Uneven against an innocent person and a person of privilege, and that needs to be
absolutely.
Yes.
Now put on the screen, give us again how we could get in contact with you, how we could help you. And for those that are around the world listening, if you want to get along with Anthony to start a campaign against false police reporting, please get in contact with him. This is something that we really need to do. I mean, look at what happened to Emmett Till. Now, look what happened to him. That was, to me, they beat him based on a lie. That's a false police reporting to me. I'm sorry. This is war cry. I said it. Anthony, let us know how to get in contact with you.
Thank you. So we are on Facebook, and if you search Stop False Police Reporting, you can find us on Facebook. You can give us a like and follow us there. You can also send us any requests for if you need help with legal representation, or if you're someone who's been directly impacted by false reporting. We also have weekly support meetings. You can also contact us directly at 929-600-3400. Anyone in the state of New York is welcome, and any other state is welcome to contact us for information.
Well,
how can we get a T-shirt? T-shirt.
Well,
how can we get a T-shirt?
Yes, we have T-shirts, and here in Manhattan, Harlem, the Bronx area, I can come in person and drop off some T-shirts for everybody. Hand deliver some T-shirts, because I don't have the website set up yet, but we are in the process of doing that, and we do have some T-shirts available for people who want to.
All right, good. Good, Dr. O, back at you.
Yeah, there's I'm sorry, I can't remember the young boy's name, who was falsely accused of murder. I think he was, I don't know if he was put to death by electric chair or something. So I live in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and there's the campaign to, I think the person was exonerated already, but now they're trying to change the courthouse in his name as a form of justice. So Butch Slaughter is the one that's heading that campaign. I think he would be a really good person for your show. That is very much keeping with the theme that you brought forward today. But I'll get his name and send that to you as a possible person to be on the show. But we'd like to, not only rename the courthouse and this boy who was murdered for a crime he didn't commit, but he was electrocuted, and then some kind of way in his family, his uncle or something was working for the electrical company, and he wound up getting electrocuted by accident. I mean, it's really just crazy. But anyway, I think this is something that can continue. It's so important to bring this to light, and not only, like I was saying, changing the courthouse, the name of the courthouse, but to use what you're doing to see if we can duplicate that bill here in Delaware County.
So
absolutely.
Yes, fantastic. That sounds great.
Absolutely. I'll give you his information. This is War Cry. You can join us next week at 11 a.m. for another dynamic program. These are the subjects you're not going to hear anywhere else, but you
That's
will
true.
hear them here. This is Urban News Station. Now, one word you would like to leave the audience with. One word, Dr. O, one word, Anthony, one word that you want to leave the audience with. Dr. O, you first.
Wake up.
Okay. Oh, you first. Oh, you next. Anthony, you next.
Well, once you know about false reporting, you are permanently obligated to do something about it, because we cannot allow innocent people to spend another moment behind the prison bars in the state or anywhere in this country.
Absolutely. And my word that I would like is justice for all. This is War Cry. War Cry for our children, our neighborhood, our community. War Cry for the urban voice. This is War Cry. Back at you, engineers. Thank you for another dynamic show. We'll see you next week at 11 a.m. Stay tuned for War Cry. War Cry. This is War Cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is War Cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is War Cry. Police brutality. Hands up! Don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is War Cry. Drugs, rape, mass shootings, school violence. This is War Cry. Galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in school. This is War Cry. Cameras, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is War Cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is War Cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is War Cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is War Cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is War Cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is War Cry. HBCUs under attack. This is War Cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is War Cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is War Cry. Let us come together and pray for our young people, pray for our communities, pray for our schools, pray for our churches, pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is War Cry, home of the land, home of the brave, land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is War Cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is War Cry.
I know who goes before me.